due to death threats against me and my family, and to reduce the stress on local law enforcement that now needs to be focused on recovery operations. I'm with you by this video.
Well, guys, I never thought I'd see the day. With all of the laughably bad apology videos we've gotten over the last year or two, I thought it would be quite some time before I was talking about anything that even came close to being as bad as some of the stuff we've seen. Life is full of surprises, though. Today, we are looking at what is going to go down in history as the worst apology / addressing / explanation video, whatever you want to call it, that has ever been made. I'm not joking. Why am I so confident? Well, because this has nothing to do with your typical silly internet drama. This is not a content creator who got called out for being a creep. This is not somebody with a ukulele trying to defend them touching children. This is a real-life situation where multiple people have died. Now, unless you're not from America, or maybe you just don't pay attention to what's going on in your country, you've probably heard about Hurricane Helene at some point. It was a Category 4 hurricane that's been absolutely ravaging our East Coast, and it's become the deadliest mainland hurricane since Katrina. The floods produced by this storm have been absolutely devastating. Hundreds of people have died. Entire communities have been wiped out. It's an absolute tragedy, and to make matters worse, Hurricane Milton is heading towards Florida right now, which is a record-breaking Category 5 hurricane, which is being described as approaching the limit of what Earth's atmosphere can produce in a storm. It's really bad. And in the midst of all this, expectedly so, corporate America remains as corporate America, which we can see in full effect with a terrible story that has come out of Tennessee involving a company named Impact Plastics, where 11 employees of the company were swept away by floods created by Hurricane Helene, with 5 of them being recovered, 1 still missing, and 4 being confirmed as dead. Why did this happen? Well, according to the surviving employees, it was because the Impact Plastic managers would not allow workers to leave, even after warnings for the floods had been issued. Now, as of right now, this is all under investigation, so we don't have any definite answers as to what really happened yet, and each side is giving a story that contradicts the other. But right now, my belief is with the employees, for many reasons. One is because I've already seen the video we're going to be watching today, but the biggest reason, and you can call me crazy for this, is that I don't believe anybody on this planet is that passionate about making plastic that they are willing to die to squeeze out just a little bit more production. And that thinking is reinforced by a statement given by one of the employees. As the waters rose outside, managers wouldn't let employees leave. Instead, managers told people to move their cars away from the rising water. They should have evacuated when we got the flash flood warnings and when they saw the parking lot. When we moved our cars, we should have evacuated then. We asked them if we should evacuate, and they told us not yet. It wasn't bad enough. And by the time it was bad enough, it was too late unless you had a 4-wheel drive. Now, I know you probably clicked on this video to see a bad apology, but I really want you guys to get the full context, really understand what the employees of this company had to go through, because it's going to make the video we watch that much worse. Now, once the water was too high to evacuate out of, Ingram, the man giving this statement, and 10 other employees were fighting their way through waist-deep water in the parking lot when a semi-truck driver called them over and helped them get onto the back of his open-bed truck. And there are videos of this happening. These people are not making this up. The group called 911 and were told rescuers would be there in 15 to 20 minutes, but help was a long way away. For 2 or 3 hours, we were on the back of that trailer. It was because the hospital was about to collapse, and I understand that, but they shouldn't have told us someone was on the way when they weren't. Suddenly, a piece of debris hit the truck. The jolt knocked a woman into the rapids. Soon after, a second piece of debris smashed into the truck, and another woman fell into the water and was swept away. The truck was hit again, but this time the piece of debris was much bigger, the impact much harder, and the truck flipped. Ingram and 4 other employees were able to save themselves by cramming their hands into the pipes on the back of the truck, allowing them to float. But as mentioned earlier, at least 4 of the people on the back of that truck did not survive, and 1 is still missing. 11 employees of Impact Plastics went through something avoidable, which at best left them traumatized for life with who knows what kind of health complications from being in the floodwaters, and at worst cost them their life. With that knowledge, let me show you how the CEO of this company responded to all of this happening.
I'm Gerald O'Connor, founder and president of Impact Plastics in Erwin, Tennessee. Due to death threats against me and my family, and to reduce the stress on local law enforcement that now needs to be focused on recovery operations, I'm with you by this video.
Alrighty, so not even 20 seconds in, and not only is this guy already trying to paint himself the victim of this situation, in the list he gives of reasons he's making this video, the fact that 4 of his employees died on his company's watch does not make the cut. No, this is because him and his family are getting death threats, and because he wants to make the job of local law enforcement a little bit easier. Yeah, sounds like you really care about your employees, man.
The flood of September 27th took from our Impact Plastics family some great employees. One was a personal friend of more than 30 years of working together. We are heartbroken, as you are, about our loss, and will keep those who have now passed in our hearts forever.
Okay, so look, I'm not trying to say that this guy is completely heartless and does not care whatsoever about the fact that some of his employees passed away, but maybe, just maybe, when you're addressing something like this, you could take 5 or 10 minutes to try and look at what you wrote, or what somebody else wrote for you, more likely. It literally seems like this is the first time he's reading any of this. He's stopping like every 3 or 4 words to make sure he's reading off the right thing. The stuff you're saying really doesn't seem too genuine given the presentation.
Following that day, I ordered an immediate review of the events and the timeline of what occurred that morning, beginning as soon as the last surviving employees and a count of those who are missing were addressed. With help from the National Guard, we were able to help secure the rescue 5 of our employees by helicopter. Today, we share that preliminary report with the public. The findings are that employees were told to leave the plant at least 45 minutes before the gigantic force of the flood hit the industrial park. There was time to escape.
Okay, so given the contradictory statements by the employees, and considering the fact that this review was done by the company, I don't even feel like this is really worth addressing. I mean, this company has 4 dead employees. They're probably not going to come out unprompted and say, you know what? Actually, you're right. We told them they couldn't leave. Our bad. I mean, come on. This will be investigated further by third parties, and then we might get closer to the truth, but for right now, I have to look at this logically. What person in their right mind would stay at their job for no reason knowing that these floods are coming? I mean, seriously, what motivation would these people have had to not leave when they were told it's okay to leave? There really seems to only be 2 logical answers to that question. Either 1, they weren't told it's okay to leave, or 2, when they were, it was too late. I mean, seriously, who here would stay at their job after their boss told them it was okay to leave under normal circumstances? Probably nobody. So why would that number go up when not leaving means potentially dying? It makes no sense.
Employees were not told at any time that they would be fired if they left the plant. After checking to make sure everyone was out of our plant and to rescue important files, I was one of the last people to leave the plant and luckily escape. To our knowledge, no one perished while on company property.
Okay, 2 things. Can you explain to everybody what you did differently to be one of the last people out of the building and escape when nobody else was able to? What did you do differently? Could you walk us through that? Because that seems very unlikely. And then to throw in nobody perished while on company property? Holy shit. Yeah, that's because they were swept away by the floodwater, dumbass. What an insanely slimy thing to say.
My company will cooperate fully with the inquiries from the Tennessee Bureau of Investigation and the Tennessee Occupation and Health Administration in days ahead. For now, our focus is on our employees. Thank you for your hard work as we all try to recover from this tragedy. I fell in love with Irwin and the people back in 1987 as a home for Impact Plastics. My plan is to build back our business in this town that I love as quickly as we can and offer good jobs again to the people who live there.
I say this, and I really mean it. I don't think I have ever heard anything more tone deaf in my entire life. Seriously, I think this is it. There's just so much wrong here. First of all, your focus is on your employees, and you want to try and recover from this tragedy, then maybe you shouldn't be immediately discrediting the people who actually were affected by this tragedy. Obviously, it's sad that you lost your business. Nobody's going to try and deny that, but that's what insurance is for. People died. Lives were lost. That's the tragedy, not you taking a financial hit. The families who lost loved ones, the people who made it through this and survived, those are the people affected by all of this, and you're basically saying, yeah, they're all liars. Nothing they're saying is true. Nothing's our fault. Doesn't seem like you really care about the employees and the tragedy of all this. Then, how you end all of this is just insane. Your goal is to rebuild Impact Plastics as quickly as you can and start offering good jobs again? Really? Not figuring out what actually happened here? Finding out the reason that 4 people died while working under you? That's not of concern? Your main concern is making money again and replacing the employees that got killed? Yeah, seems like you really care about the people there, buddy. Now, that's where the statement ends, and honestly, I don't think this guy needs to say anything else. I feel like in this 2.5 minutes, he has told everybody everything they could ever need to know about him. The complete lack of human emotion over this is baffling to me. This guy was talking about the death of someone who was supposedly a close friend of 30 years, like he's giving a middle school book report. None of this makes sense. Well, guys, what do you think? Have we ever seen anything worse than this? From like a morality standpoint, from a real life standpoint, I don't think we have. We've looked at people botch apologies for doing some pretty awful shit, but this is in a league of its own. To be this heartless, to be this tone deaf, you've got to be genuinely fucking evil. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like and walk on over to that subscribe button and touch it. It's free. It won't cost you anything. But for now, that's all I have for you today. Bye.